because they feared that this crisis we witnessed on Saturday, would emerge. Eventually, it has happened. But then, importantly, the National Organizing Secretary has put it very, very aptly that people sought to capture, the party structures to better their lots in an electoral contest. What's played out on Saturday was simply what he mentioned, because these are people that will eventually choose or nominate candidates for the APC. And therefore, those who have interest in contesting in the 2019 election knew that Saturday was the beginning of that contest. In order to, win primaries, they had, to control, to install their own stooges and their own supporters as leaders of the party, because eventually these people will be delegates in the primary elections. And so if we are looking at the human element, what played out was just politicians angling and positioning themselves for primaries. Essentially also it reflects the fact political scientists, analysts have always said that Nigeria does not really have political parties, people who believe in similar ideas about how the society should be organized and governed. That political parties in Nigeria are just mere platforms for electoral contests. And so people, struggle to capture these platforms in order to better their lots, as I said earlier, in electoral contests. It is not far from that.
Well, Dr. Oreke, just take this along with the proposition you have just made. One of the enduring challenges, it is said, of political party administration in Nigeria, especially since the Fourth Republic in 1999, is the absence of what is called internal democracy. And world congresses are said to be one of the main building blocks of internal democracy. How has that played out in this case? Is it remediable?
Well, it can be remedied, but then the party has asked the aggrieved persons, as usual in Nigeria, when you are cheated, when you are pushed out of the electoral contest, you are told to resort to the internal mechanisms for resolution, or you go to court, to have it remedied. Of course, yes, it can be remedied, but then it is a sad tale in our political history that ever since 1922, since the days of the NNDP, that Nigeria is still struggling, to build viral, political parties that can drive the democratic process in the country. Now, democracy, if we believe that democracy is a road leading to somewhere, political parties are the vehicles through which this road will be traveled. It means, therefore, that political parties are very important. They are key to democracy. And therefore, if political parties themselves do not believe in the principles, in the culture of democracy, that means that the country cannot be truly democratic. Political parties themselves are essential institutions, to democratic process. And therefore, when you have them fighting, when you have them not organized, when you have them not believing in the principles of democracy, then democracy in the country is strengthened. Democracy is not just a system of government; it is a way of life. If it is a way of life, it means, therefore, that there is a culture to democracy, and this culture entails that you should do to me as I would want you to do, as you would want me to do unto you. If you enjoy the freedom, if you enjoy the dividends, if you enjoy the rights that democracy, provides, I also deserve the rights to enjoy this democracy, and that is the prevailing culture of democracy. But across the country, people do not believe in this culture of democracy, and that is why a lot of us are resorting to self-help. People do not believe in the institutions of democracy. People do not believe that, for instance, they can get justice in the court. People do not believe that you can oppose their views. People do not believe that you can challenge them in democracy, and that is why we are resorting to self-help. It played out on Saturday when the APC tried to organize their congresses. It has been playing out, across the country. even when the president, for instance, declared that he was going to contest, in the 2019 elections, a lot of people were saying, why should he, declare to contest elections? Whereas democracy has provided the opportunity for you to reject or accept in the ballot. It therefore means that people are given...
Dr. Reke, thank you very much. We'll come back to you here, and I'm wondering, I would like Senator Izunaso to address this issue again in terms of going forward. All right, the grievance redress mechanism has already been outlined. Reconciliation committees will be set up. We used to hear about that in the days of PDP and so on and so forth. But tell us something. Why would apparatchiks be desperate to use your expression, seize the party structures rather than win the party structures?
Well, I try to explain it. It is all encapsulated into the human elemental angle of politics, where people have the tendency, the urge to seize, to grab, to be on top. Now, but what we are trying to do in the APC is to ensure that the mechanism of free flow of activities is guaranteed. We set up these committees, urge them to go and hold stakeholders meeting first, so that every member of the party who is the stakeholder will participate. Thereafter, they move to the field. That is the first stage. Having done that, the appeal committee is already in place. We do not inaugurate appeal committees after the main committee, no. They are done almost simultaneously. So as you are going into the field, you're already aware that there's an appeal committee. After the appeal committee, the National Working Committee will sit on all cases. Now that is where we are now. And I must commend the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, because he's one of the ministers that actually show interest in our party activities in Enugu State. He has done exceedingly very well, very well. Even before the commencement of the Congress, we got reports that he called for a meeting where all the stakeholders were physically present, and they look at some of these issues. But if there are issues arising from sale of forms, they ought to have mentioned it to us immediately. Because what we did was to give the forms out to the state chairman so they can sell ahead of time. And the Congress committee was also giving forms. So in a situation where a state chairman did not give forms to everybody, the Congress committee will give form to the people eventually. And if you do not have forms from the Congress committee, the National Secretary can also give you forms, so long as you pay and bring the teller, because this is a participatory thing. We want all our people to be together. Don't forget that this is the bedrock of internal democracy, as Kingsley said. If you get it right from the world level, then you've gotten it right. Because every politics you know the same way I know that is local. And the closest to it is the world level. So it's very paramount to us, and we are ensuring that there is no aggrieved person that we will not listen to. We listen to every aggrieved person as much as possible. The ABIC panels are there in various states working today. Things are moving very well. There are some areas that are agreeing, some areas that are not agreeing, and ultimately it will come to the National Working Committee of our party. So we want to carry as many of our party people along. And do not forget that this is just an APC internal affair. We are trying to manage ourselves.
Yes. And in the course of this management, we are seeing uproar in some quarters. I think Nigerian politicians really believe in this simple definition of politics, which is who gets what, when, and how. And if I can't get it, I'll now seize it, using your words, seizing it. You see, installing surrogates, is not new in every democracy, with Nigeria and in the West, western part of the world. But what we are saying here, or asking, is when will internal democracy be internalized in the political system of the country, especially at the political party level? In Imo State, for instance, both the governor and some other people in Imo State also, are not satisfied with the outcome of election. But how are you going to address that in Imo, particularly when the governor, who is to be, of course, the #1 APC member in that state, is complaining bitterly about the outcome? How would you handle that at the level of the community level?
No, it would be unfair of me as an umpire to start to single out a state and begin to discuss a state here. I wouldn't do that, because we have the appeal panel that is working, and ultimately I'm a member of the NWC, and the matter will still come to NWC where NWC will look at it. So I don't think it will be right for me to say this has happened in Imo, happened in Abia, happened in Enugu State. No. Why the essence of this interactive session this morning is to say how far have you guys fared in the conduct of your congresses, and that's what we're talking about. So I wouldn't want to go into the specifics of it, because it is not yet ripe for me to make such a comment, since I'm still going to sit on appeal on most of these things when it's brought forward.
The National Organizing Secretary.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's pause, Senator Izunaso, and then bring in again the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Honourable Minister, tell us something. What is the mood like in Enugu in the aftermath of what you just described with regard to the conduct of the World Congresses?
There's uncertainty. There's great uncertainty because what everybody wants is transparency. Everybody wants to know what's going on and to see what's going on. And so it's always problematic when, people are very much in the dark. Now, after the elections, for instance, I again called people to come and do a post-mortem, and all the different wards, where these processes took place. They came and gave a report. So in essence, we had, unfortunately, parallel congresses. But you see, as the organizing secretary was saying, I had actually highlighted even before the voting to senior officials that I could see some problems evolving and the importance of us dealing with them very, very quickly. You see, because for instance, these people paid the tellers. They have tellers, 520 people, and we went and we got the tellers. So they paid to participate, but they never got the forms, and unfortunately, it was arranged in such a way that even I myself was not able to meet with the Congress committee that came to my state, and you would have thought that at least I would, I'll be one of the people that they would come and sit with. So, and we only met afterwards. So if you say that the chairman had the forms, the Congress committee had the forms, we never met any of these.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Oyama. Dr. Ernest Sereke, there's something I would like you to address, and that has to do with the concerns that have often been raised about political party management in Nigeria. Why, for instance, we've seen this happen, so frequently. Why, for instance, the conduct of a World Congress will be the business of the National Secretariat of a political party? Are parties not otherwise strong enough to organize their own World Congresses? Must a committee be set up at the national level? We saw this again. We have seen it since 1999 with PDP. They have appeals committee will come from the center. The Congress committee will come from the center. Can we not federalize political party management? It's unthinkable, for instance, that you have somebody coming from Washington, D.C. to be organizing elections in Georgia.
Well, I think that's a very good question. And I want to believe that, again, as the National Organizing Secretary of the APC has said, every politics is local. And while you have these political parties organized from the world level to the local government, to the state, and to the national, it's because of the idea of the belief to allow the people within the local areas to handle their own affairs and their own issues with their own local initiatives. In fact, that is even why you have local government, to start with. And therefore, but then again, importantly also, it is because of the belief that people cannot get justice, people cannot get fair treatment from within their own local areas. And therefore, they believe that it is only somebody from outside who can come and organize them and then give them justice because of the lack of faith in the institutions of democracy. And as you rightly said, it has become problematic in the Nigerian party politics, in the Nigerian party management. But then going forward, I think that political parties at the local levels, at the ward levels, at the state levels, should be able to have these powers to conduct their own affairs, to conduct their own primaries and congresses, because they understand their own local politics and their own local affairs better than the national, do understand.
All right. Thank you very much indeed, Dr. Ereke. Actually, we want to thank you immensely for your contribution this morning. You have indeed educated us on some of the key issues raised with respect to world congresses and, of course, the political mechanization in Nigeria. Dr. Ernest Ereke is from the Department of Political Science, University of Abuja. Thank you again for being part of Good Morning Nigeria.
Thank you for having me.
All right, Kieran, that's the first guest that we are discharging, and perhaps also our quitting. We have reactions already coming in from our viewers, as always. These are tweets. We will take those tweets right now. Jack Solomon has this tweet. Now, in the words of President Muhammadu Buhari, the Congresses were a reminder that politics should be driven not by selfish ambition, but by a desire to serve the people and improve their lives. Now, going by this statement of the President, APC members must uphold supremacy of the party's constitution in serving the people.
All right, from Law Alpha, he says it's unfortunate that the APC World Congress witnessed a lot of dastardly acts by members. It's unfortunate also that the character and personality of President Muhammadu Buhari are not rubbing off on the political ambition of members of the APC.
All right, we have another tweet here coming in from Mike Ayankwo, and Mike Ayankwo is tweeting that he was highly disappointed by the level of crisis that characterized the ruling APC congresses last weekend, and this has shown that politicians have not learned their lessons in the country. Let's pray that they will change.
All right, from Excellency, please, I want to know the update on Imo State Congress. Was it postponed or not?
Okay, and this tweet is coming from Austin. The reason why Austin, that's the Twitter handle. The reason why APC is expanding is not because of the party success in government. It's because every Nigerian wants to associate themselves with the ruling party.
All right, now from Victor Oyosomo, the crisis arising from the World Congresses of APC was expected. It was not politically expedient to have conducted congresses now at the eve of election year. However, the consensus option, though laudable, but it's subject to abuse. There is a thin line between consensus and the imposition.
All right, those are the tweets that we have in the meantime. Let's bring in our other guest to join us. Engineer Atta Achimugu. Achimugu is a member of the Board of Trustees of the Buhari Campaign Organization. Engineer Achimugu, pleasure to have you join us on the program.
Good morning, Nigeria. Thank you, Kesley.
A very key person to this conversation. Well,
all the guests will have been key in terms of the contributions. But let's tell us something. What is your take on the congresses that took place countrywide in APC yesterday?
Thank you, Kesley, and good morning, Nigerians. We have been scoring this Congress with different types of marks. I have had the National Organizing Secretary scoring it 75%. Others might score maybe something a little bit higher. But I think that anybody who has been a student before, you know that when you score 75%, you have excellent, you have very good, you have good, and so on and so forth. So we can score this as being a very good mark. So be that as it may. You see, we have seen the APC have called it a shot. Other parties are yet to follow. So whatever we are witnessing now maybe will be a yardstick for others to follow. And it's a very good thing that APC have started already. Whatever the outcome of the exercises is, we have the APC very much intact. The party mechanism that is actually to take care of all these differences are already in place. And I think as we have seen it, we have not been seeing so many, serious kind of disagreements that are coming. Let everybody go to the party, reconciliation mechanisms and get all this settled. All in all, my take is that it's a very good and a very successful outing for APC.
Engineer Chimugu, yes, successful as you have mentioned, but we had stories of terrible discrepancies, snatching of ballot boxes, stories we had in the 80s, and it's also resurfacing. And the APC is actually the ruling party that should be setting examples. Now, what do you make of the fact that in some states there were huge complaints from very notable personalities in the APC?
Yeah. Thank you very much. The very fact that these are coming from very high-ranking officials shows clearly that it is no longer business as usual. If it has to be, then those high-ranking officials will have been able to suppress everything that goes on in the state. But by and large, you see, the evolution of our political structures and the institutionalization of party politics is seen to be taking shape. You see, more often than not, in all the political parties, you can have just two camps. One are those who want to maintain the status quo. They don't come in because of the ideological level of the party. They are there, say, I want to take something, win, and survive. And there are those who are there for the ideological purposes, institutionalization of the party democracy, and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, the latter is still yet to take the upper hand. Until the latter takes the upper hand, I will begin to see that political parties in Nigeria are towing the ideological lines and party supremacy. That is where we have a very neat, political lens. It's not peculiar to APC alone. You will see that as other congresses are going to take place, we are going to witness a more dramatic situation.
All right, thank you very much, Engineer Chimugu. Let's bring in again Senator Izuna, who is the National Organizing Secretary of the APC. There was a question I asked Dr. Ernest Chereke, which has to do with the top-bottom approach in organizing political parties, in conducting elections into executive offices in the political parties. Why do we appear to have this? Because some persons would argue that this is what has often given rise to, if you like, the rise of Abuja-based politicians who oftentimes, it is alleged, seek to impose their will on the local players. Why can't parties organize themselves right from the grassroots and then present their first 11, to the escalating levels going up?
Well, I think Dr. Ereke explained this very vividly. It is a situation where both the top and the down manages these issues very well. When we're talking about setting up a Congress committee from the national, they are not the one that went to the wards to go and conduct the ward congresses. When they arrive the state, they also use personnel from that state to now go to various wards to conduct these ward congresses. And they supervise, they monitor, and they ensure that things are done properly. That is the work of those who are coming from the federal to the state. Now, the tendency is that in most cases, people might not get justice from their state. People might not be fairly treated. People might be skewed out of the system from wherever they come from. So when these people come from the center, their job is to ensure fairness. I said it here that we devise a means of selling this form by first of all giving the state chairman the forms, and you can see the minister have complained that maybe the forms did not get down to the people who have even paid.
Forms were hijacked.
Yes, and had their tellers. So what are we supposed to do next as a political party? Those people who are coming in from the center, we also give them forms. So where a person is not given a form in his state, please give form to such a person. And even if the people who are coming from the center are not able to do that, we still say you can still obtain this form from the center. So the point I'm making is that internal democracy at any level will certainly begin from the people, from the grassroots, from the ward, from the polling unit, and begin to come up to the local government, to the state, and to the center. So the party in Abuja is not necessarily working without having a proper synergy with the party at the grassroots. Because everyone, there's no politician who is in Abuja who is not a member of the party from any ward. The national chairman of this party belongs to a ward. It does not belong to the Federal Capital Territory. It does not belong to the National Secretariat. You belong to a ward. You go to a ward and register. So if you are joining my party today, look at President Buhari. You saw him went to his ward to cast his vote at the World Congresses. So it begins from the ward.
Yeah, the question actually relates to this. Maybe we can do a comparison. It's not the question of you going to a ward to register. It is how you organize yourself as a party at the local level, including choosing your executives. For instance, I mean, you can say this is election. When in the U.S. presidential election they are conducting primaries and congresses, it is the state that does it. It is the state, not somebody coming from the national convention to come and be organizing it for the state. Yeah, or to be giving directives or to be selling forms. What we are saying now is what happened, what has happened since 1999. We saw it, and you know, that's to say, look, how do you organize parties from bottom up?
And to be honest with you, Kingsley has made a very valid point here, because
ask a question.
Because a valid question here. You know, because some ministers and even legislators are at political war with their governors, even with their wards. Yet the hierarchy of the party at the ward level are closer to the people. Now that quasi person is and from your experience, Honorable Minister, in Enugu, would you say that internal politics is taking shape or is worsening from what we've experienced in Enugu?
You know, I really don't want to, as it were, wash dirty linen in public. You know, but basically, I think all we want and all the people require and need is just a transparent process. So, you know, this weekend, for instance, I said, what is so difficult about everybody who wants to run and pays being given the possibility to run? And what is the difficulty in getting people to either stand behind a candidate or put their vote, their ballot, in a ballot box? It's not rocket science. You know, you don't